Welcome to Figures of Speech in Literature.
Well, what is a figure of speech? Figures of speech can be described as whenever the writer uses words in an unconventional way, which departs from its literal meaning. Figures of speech can also include dramatic features that can draw emphasis to a phrase or word. For example, the phrase speak daggers. We know that this phrase is not literal, but we understand the connotations and implications that it provides. When we think about these, we could tell that the author is implying that words can hurt.
The functions include by using figures of speech, the author can draw comparisons between the literal and figurative meaning in order to provoke deeper thought. Another one is the fact that it prevents poems from becoming too lengthy, as the techniques hold the same meaning without occupying too much space. Another is it can create a mental picture of the events in the poem, which makes it easier for the reader to grasp the important parts.
A metaphor. Well, a metaphor is a statement that one thing is something else, when in a literal sense it is not. An implied metaphor is one that uses neither a connective nor the verb to be. It hints at the comparison without directly saying it. A mixed metaphor is the use of a sequence of metaphors that don't make sense and seem incongruous. An extended metaphor is where several lines or the entire body of writing is a metaphor. So we can tell that there are various types of metaphors that can be used in poetry and literature.
Simile. It is a comparison of two things indicated by some connective, like, as, than, or verbs such as resembles. As playful as a kitten is an example of a simile. A simile expresses a similarity. However, for a simile to exist, the things compared must be somewhat dissimilar, because otherwise it would just be an observation. Writers can help the reader explore alternative meanings of the work through these unexpected associations. By using similes, writers can help describe the abstract in ways that is more understandable by comparing them to things that are physical and concrete.
Personification. Well, personification is a figure of speech, a thing where a thing, an animal, or an abstract term can be made to seem human. For example, the wildfire ran far and wide across the forest in a matter of minutes. Attributing human emotions to something can make it more vivid in the reader's imagination and hold the reader's attention. I feel like writers prefer to use this literary device in their work to describe an inanimate thing as alive and to make its actions and nature clearer. As humans, it is easier to understand human traits, which is why non-living entities are described as human beings. Authors can also use personification to describe the unconventional aspects of objects or things as a way of showcasing the underlying mood, conflict, or themes of the piece, of which even the characters themselves are not sometimes aware of.
An apostrophe. This is a way of addressing someone or something invincible or not ordinarily spoken to. An example is right there. O stars and clouds and winds, ye are all about to mock me if ye really pity me. Crush sensation and memory. Let me become as naught, but if not, depart, depart, and leave me in darkness. An apostrophe goes hand in hand with personification. This is because the writer will usually give the entity human-like traits and characteristics. An apostrophe is used primarily to express strong emotion like love, hate, fear, or anger, but it allows the speaker or writer to do so by directly addressing the subject of their thoughts or feelings, which makes the expression less abstract. The direct honesty that is involved in apostrophe can give a reader a sense of intimacy with the character and can help to establish a relationship between the writer and the poem's audience.
Metonymy. A figure of speech where the name of a thing is substituted for that of a closely associated thing. We say the White House decided, but we actually mean the President decided. Metonymy in literature can often substitute a concrete image for an abstract concept. It also stimulates associative thinking, which allows literature to capture and express the complicated and non-literal experiences of life. Autonomy allows words to mean more than what they usually would by layering the figurative meanings and associations of a word's literal meanings. This helps to add complexity and mystery to the works of literature.
A synecdoche is a type of metonymy, when the use of a part of a thing to stand for the whole of it or vice versa. An example is 20 sails came into the harbor. It is a very versatile literary device. Often using it can elevate the language of a work, making something sound more interesting or more poetic. Writers use this to exchange a word or phrase for another, which can make it a useful device for creating some rhythm and rhyme within the poetry. It can help a writer make their work more complex, subtle, and meaningful. Since it often appears in slang and colloquialism, writers may also use it in a character's dialogue to make them sound more authentic.
A paradox. This occurs in a statement which first strikes someone as self-contradictory, but on further reflection makes sense. The special ability of a paradox often draws its power from the use of words that can be defined in multiple ways. Paradoxes can portray a complex situation or point out the flaws of a preconceived notion. A paradox can highlight a contradiction, challenge or find a problem, and suggest that it holds some truth and possibly a solution. To create emphasis on a certain phrase or subject, it demands the reader's attention, since paradox statements are often puzzling.
Puns. This is a play on words. It reminds us of another word or similar or identical sound, but of a very different denotation. An example is "you're so bright." Puns are usually used in a humorous, but can also be used in a serious context. The double meanings in most puns are usually very clear. However, a subtle pun can allow someone to communicate a hidden meaning or to make a comment without directly saying something. These double entendres can be illicit, sexual, or even political in nature.
Here is a poem we chose to look at figures of speech in further analysis. The eagle, he clasps the crag with crooked hands, close to the sun in lonely lands, ranked with azure world he stands. The wrinkled sea beneath him crawls, he watches from his mountain walls, and like a thunderbolt he falls. By Alfred Lord Tennyson is called the eagle.
Analysis. In the first line, the phrase crooked hands is interesting. An eagle does not have hands. It seems to indicate how an eagle clasps a crag in the way human fingers clasp something. By giving the eagle human-like qualities, Tennyson seems to be recognizing the eagle's purpose and almost human sophistication. The way the author gives the sea characteristics like wrinkled and describes its movement as a crawl in line 4 gives the force of nature a sense of life and vivacity.
Close to the sun in line 2, if taken literally, is an exaggeration. For the eagle to be closer to it by the altitude of a mountain is approached so small as to be insignificant. This statement reaffirms the solemnity of an eagle. Like a thunderbolt in line 6, this simile describes the pure energy and power that an eagle has by comparing it to a thunderbolt. The word falls seems like an understatement, because the speed at which an eagle dies hardly seems comparable to a fall, which has connotations of something slower and more accidental.
The further personification of the eagle by using he allows us to understand the admiration Tennyson has for the eagle. The powerful personification, metaphors, and similes allows the writer to communicate the rugged and lonesome nature of the eagle.
Well, thanks for watching our presentation. Today we learned about what figures of speech are, the functions of figures of speech, different techniques used in figure of speech, and we analyzed a poem for figures of speech. Well, thank you for listening to our presentation. Hope you have a wonderful day.